What's up everybody, I'm Derek, this is Rocky E Forge, and today I'm going to be forging an adjustable height cooking apparatus for cooking over the fire. It's going to consist of a vertical pole and a pan holder, for lack of a better word, that wraps around that pole. It should be friction fit so that it will stay on the pole over a campfire and I can move it up and down as I need more or less heat. Now, it is the end of February right now, and normally I would say it is a little early in the season to be working on something like this, but I am going on the second day without power to my house because just down the road from me, a power pole completely ripped out of the ground and fell on the road that I live on and knocked out power for the foreseeable future. So I'm going to be cooking outside over an open fire for the next day or two, which means I'm going to need something to put my pots and pans on. So without any further ado, let's get rocking. Alrighty, so for this first part of this project, I'm starting with a piece of 1/2-inch square bar. It's about 2 feet 7 inches, and that's simply just because it's what I've got lying around. Because I've lost electrical power, this whole project is going to be pretty well just working with what I've got and working with no electricity. I'm going to be limited entirely to the sunlight, which means for filming, the lighting is going to be all crazy. And nothing's going to look hot. This bar was used in my blacksmithing for beginners video. Number one, just demonstrating how steel moves under certain geometries of hammer. And as such, I'm just cleaning up most of the lumps and bumps to get it back as close to 1/2-inch square as I can. This little notch is gonna just stay there, that's fine, but I want it to be no wider than the 1/2 inch so that I can slide my pot holder up and down the bar. And you can probably see on the other side, I actually started a pair of tongs on this piece on the other end. And we'll avoid a cold shut there. Better. This is actually going to work out all right for me. I'm actually going to split this right up the middle of what this boss was going to become. This is going to be 2 stakes that stab into the ground, one that goes straight down and one that comes out at an angle so that it has a little bit of stability when I stab it into the ground near my fire pit. And since I have no electrical power, I'm going to be doing this all by hand with a hand chisel. So that's going to take a hot minute, and we're going to keep going. First thing I'm going to do before I split it, though, is forge this little chunk down into a taper so that it's about the same thickness as here, and I don't have as much lump to chisel around and through in that regard. Looks like I've still got a little bit of a cold shut developing right there. I don't want that to continue building, so I'm going to go take that and hot file it at the post vise, and then we'll keep going. And once I've got that kind of worked out, I'm going to start splitting this with my chisel. And it's going to look ugly for a while just because of all of this kind of weird flat portions. The goal is to have this side be about, 4 to 6 inches in length, and this side is going to stick out from the parent stock and then come back down. So this area is going to be a little thin for what I want it, but like I said earlier, I'm kind of working with what I've got. So keep on going. And I'm getting close to chiseling through. So sorry in advance on the audio, but I'm using this piece of sheet metal as a sacrificial piece of steel under what I'm cutting so that I don't chisel into the face of my anvil. And I'm sorry about the lighting of this clip in advance, but I'm going to start chiseling downward in order to open up this split. Oop. I'll lose the piece in the vise. I'm going to do another run along that and then continue just kind of bouncing back and forth between the post vise and the anvil until that chiseling is finished. And that gets me down to about where my original cut was. I'm going to use the round side, I don't know how well you can see this, but the round side of my chisel here to just kind of spread this out and refine that split. Unfortunately, that's the one that I want to go straight, so I might have plunged a little bit at an angle with those last few chisel marks, but we'll get it worked out. I'm going to take a minute to just knock that over just a tad. I'm going to get this back somewhat in line. It's looking pretty ugly there, but that's all right. Some of these edges I can forge back in to the piece, but some spots like right here, it's a little too thin. It'll result, and here for sure, it'll result in a cold shut if I leave them. As such, I'm gonna go file those off, but you don't need to watch that, especially because I'm losing more and more light back there at the vise. Then I'm gonna go ahead and start working on this. I'm gonna try to flatten this portion out, give it a little more strength this direction, and then I've gotta deal with this lump. And I've got a real weak point here, so I gotta be careful. I'm going to go ahead and use the diamond shape here the way it is so that I'm not messing up, just to add lateral strength as opposed to knocking that in and making it closer to square, which would actually thin everything down and weaken that material. Please ignore how ugly that looks. But before I bend this 90 degrees, I gotta work this out, get that taper looking a little nicer. And I'm paying particular attention to this taper because I want it pretty well to taper both directions down to the tip without any thin spots here or in the middle, so that it doesn't have as much propensity to bend at a weak point like it would here. Now at this little lump, I think I'm just going to turn this into the square corner where this juts out and comes back down. This is going to be a little long for that, which is fine. And ultimately it'll be what I step on in order to actually jam this into the ground and help me kind of get some decent mechanical advantage. And I'm not making this crazy sharp because it's going to stab into the ground, but that ought to do fine for this side. So I'm going to work on refining this taper a little bit, and then I'll bend to 90 degrees and we'll call that good on this end. And that, I think, is going to have to be all right. I would certainly take more time to make this look nice and pretty, like I usually do in all my projects, if my dinner wasn't riding on me finishing this. So that's where I'm going to leave that taper and this section. I'm going to bend right here, turn that into a square quarter, and we'll be done with the upright portion and move on to the pan holder right after that. I'm doing a good job at hammering at just the wrong point here. This is an awkward piece to work with. And I think that is where I'm going to leave it. So let's see if it stabs into the ground. And it holds. It's obviously got a little give, but it holds that direction pretty well, which is what I'm going for, because when I hang something off of this, it's going to pull that direction, and I didn't want to go, 3 feet into the ground trying to hold it up. So not too bad. All right, so the second part of this project, I'm going to start with a piece, a 3/8 inch round stock, and forge one end of it up, say 8 to 10 inches into a square taper. And now that I've got that taper forged out, I'm just going to hammer down, knock down all these corners, just so that they're not all sharp. Then I'm going to come in and just give this a little penny scroll right at the end here, just to provide an ounce of decoration. Then I've got to think this through here. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. My brain doesn't want to function now. And once I've got that penny scroll in, I'm going to turn this 90 degrees and start kind of scrolling in much the same way, 90 degrees from that original plane. And my goal here is to forge a bit of a corkscrew around what will be a central portion. That corkscrew will get spread out a little bit, and then it'll hold on to the upright that we just forged. Gotta make sure I'm not going too hefty or too tight there. That's actually not tight enough, so we're gonna tighten that up. My original goal was to use a 3/4 inch round as kind of a drift, so to speak, but that is going to prove a bit too large. So I'm gonna just keep forging this around into that spiral, 1 inch at a time. I'm gonna have to heat that back up. And between heats, I'm gonna split some wood using my trusty tomahawk that I just forged on this channel. And that is now actually too thin. It is now most assuredly too skinny. So maybe I should have used the 3/4 inch round to begin with. Now I'm going to drift this and then spread this apart a little bit so it's got a little more grab down the length of the upright, as opposed to being tight, coiled like this. Okay, that did not take a whole lot. That is actually going to work. I might even tighten this up ever so slightly. Inevitably it won't work immediately following this though. Alrighty, so that should work. Now I need to spread this out so it gives a little more grip down the length. And I'm going to go grab my chisel to do that after I toss this in the fire. Alright, and what I'm going to do with this is just wedge out underneath each coil You're gonna want this to be pretty hot, because otherwise, because this is pretty thick. And I already know, just based on how this is working so far, that I actually want the arm that's going to hold the pan itself to angle up slightly out of that curve. So I put an extra little bit of space between the curlicue and what's going to be the horizontal arm of this. And that's because when it hangs onto the upright, it's not perfectly attached to the upright, so it's going to want to kind of fall forward, so to speak. So in order to make sure this is closer to horizontal, I want this arm angled up a little bit. But I think that's going to do it. Let me do a test fit just one more time. Might drift it one more time, but that's okay. So now I'm gonna flip it around, and with the dying light, turn this other end into a kind of a pan holder. I'm hoping I've got enough material here for it to be strong enough to hold up to my pans, because I got a 10-inch cast iron that I intended to use, and that's not a lot of material to hold up that much weight. So wish me luck. Might have to go buy a smaller cast iron. And you might be able to see, but I am nearly blind except for the steel. But I'm going to bend part of this about 90 degrees. And then I'm just going to start slowly scrolling this around. To look kind of like a burner on an electric stove. To an extent. It can be lumpy and bumpy, but like one inch at a time. I'm gonna heat this up and try to get this into a circle. I gotta make sure that I am in the plane, so to speak, of sideways compared to this. I'm breaking out the headlamp. You can probably hear my generator in the background. One more heat probably. I'm gonna need a pair of tongs for that one though. All right, so now I'm gonna refine this, stick this back in the forge, because it's now a size that is small enough to fit in the forge. Take probably the next 20 minutes to fiddle around and get the sizing just right. The big thing I want to do is come in here and bend this outward so that this is kind of in line with that as the arm. Let's go show you how it works here. All right, so here we go. And that ought, so I've got it buried a little better. That ought to do a fine job holding most things. I do have a bit of a twist. Well, that's nice. Demonstrate that it goes all the way down. Not that I wanted it to do that. And I do have a bit of a twist here, which I'm going to correct before I actually use this. But that is the idea. Alrighty, so it's a couple days later, and I wanted to just show that this does in fact work. And that's my 10-inch cast iron pan sitting on that thing with no trouble. If the ground is solid enough, it doesn't even like lean forward or sideways or anything at all. So it works pretty nice, but it's looking kind of ugly. So I'm just gonna throw that back in the forge and then refine this shape and then put some sort of coating on there. I haven't figured out whether I want to paint it with a high temp paint, or I think I'll actually just put a layer of beeswax on there and bake that thing on and kind of polymerize it. And I know some of it will melt off and burn off from the actual piece that's going to be over the fire, but I think that's going to look fine and protect it, and I can renew that pretty easy. All right, that's looking a lot better. I'm gonna clean up the tip here with a file, just because it's ugly. I didn't have anything to grind it down with earlier, and I was obviously running into nighttime with no light to continue filming, so I'm gonna go clean that up. Alrighty, that is going to do it for today's video. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like, leave a comment, hit subscribe, or ring that notification bell. If you want to support me and the channel further, please consider becoming an honorary striker on my Patreon. That link is in the description below the video, or please consider becoming a member on my YouTube channel. And as always, keep on rockin'. And yes, my power is back. Thank you for asking.